Hello everyone, welcome back to the next session of the metallurgy. Yes, in the last class we have discussed with the thermodynamic principle of the metallurgy, in which we have undergone application, limitation and observation of an Elegam diagram. We have come to know that which reducing agent can be used to reduce a certain metal oxide and which reducing agent cannot be used to reduce the metal oxide. Those things are clearly dealt in the last session. If you are unaware of it, kindly go back to the previous session. Link will be given in the description below. Just go and click with it. Have a glance to the previous session and then come back to this session. Yes. Once again, I welcome each and everyone for being part of this. So, in this session, to begin with, we are going to deal with the electrochemical principle of a metallurgy. Right. So, in the last class we have discussed with thermodynamic principle. In this class we are going to discuss with electrochemical principle. So, what is this? What is the great thing to deal with it here is, a chemical reaction is accompanied which results in the production of an electricity. We call it as an electrochemical reaction. Okay, fine. See, this metallurgical processes, in order to occur, electrochemical principle also provides certain applications. What applications does this electrochemical principle produce? See, we know certain active metals like sodium, potassium, etc. And we have come to know that metal oxide can be reduced to the metal thermodynamically by certain element, out of which carbon cannot reduce as the active metal oxide, which means the oxides of sodium, the oxides of potassium, etc. Okay. In that condition, how do we able to do this? Right. See, the metal ion that is present here can be reduced to the metal by using suitable reducing agent by electrolysis processes. See, the metal oxide that can be reduced to the metal either by using suitable reducing agent or just by an electrolysis process. Okay. In order to find whether the reaction is possible or not, whether the reaction is feasible or not, we have to approach one more thermodynamic state function. So, that is called Gibbs free energy. Okay. Right. The Gibbs free energy change helps us to find whether the reaction is possible or not, whether the reaction is spontaneous or not. Right. That can be given with the help of an expression. Right. Del G naught is equals to minus NF E naught. Del G naught is equals to minus NF E naught. See, when I write it is G, it is Gibbs free energy. When I put a naught over it has a superscript, it is standard free energy. When I put a delta symbol before G naught, it is standard free energy change. So, standard free energy change is given by minus NF E naught. Here, the N talks about the number of electrons that has been gained or lost by an electrode when it comes to an electrolysis process. F, Faraday, 96500 Coulomb. Right. E naught gives us the EMF value of a particular cell, which means this N will definitely be a positive because it just gives a number of an electrons alone. Here, F here is, it's 1 Faraday, which is 96500 Coulomb, it is also positive. The Gibbs free energy, whether it is positive or negative, purely relies on this E naught value alone. Standard electrode potential value alone, which is the EMF value of the cell. Only that actually tells us whether G will be positive or negative. If, let us suppose, in the equation that we have discussed previously, del G naught is equals to minus NF E naught. Here, as I have mentioned that the value of del G naught is positive or negative only depends on this E naught value alone. If E naught value is positive here, del G will definitely be negative, because I already mentioned you that N and F will always be positive. It just gives us, N gives the count of an electron and F just gives the value. It is a constant which is 96500 Coulomb there. Right. So, here if E naught is positive, plus into minus will remain as a minus itself, del G naught also will remain as minus itself. If del G naught is negative, this reduction process will definitely be spontaneous and it is feasible. Right. So we have to plan, we have to arrange that redox reaction in such a way that the total standard free energy change should always be negative. So if we need to get the negative Gibbs free energy change, I have to get that E naught value in a positive way. Right. Only then redox reaction will occur. That reduction is possible. Right. E naught should be positive, so that del G naught will be negative. If del G naught is negative, reaction is spontaneous and it is feasible. So the EMF arrangement, the placement of an electrode should be placed in such a way that the net EMF value should always be positive. We should always have that thought in our mind. Then, right, say for example, since we are talking about electrochemical principle, electrolysis, when I say electrolysis, it will be done in a chamber where we have an ionic solution in the chamber and the metal will be placed. Say for example, if the metal here is zinc, okay, the solution will be zinc sulfate. Okay, this is general methods of an electrolysis. Right. Assume that, you just assume in a way that there are two different metals over here, which mean, let me just...
Hi, நான் தமிழ் பிரகாஷ், வித்யாலட்சுமி ஸ்கூலில் 12th ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் படிக்கிறேன். நாங்கள் 12th என்டர் ஆன டைமில் கொரோனா வந்ததுனால ஃபுல் பேண்டமிக், செம லாக்டவுனு, ஸ்கூல் எதுவுமே ஓப்பன் பண்ண முடியாமல் போச்சு. அதுவும் இது ஒரு லைஃப் டிசைடிங் பாயிண்ட் அப்படிங்கிறனால எங்கள் கரியரே ஒரு கொஷின் மார்க்காக இருந்தது. பட் அந்த டைம்லையும் எங்கள் வித்யாலட்சுமி ஸ்கூல் ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ்லாம் கண்டக்ட் பண்ணி எங்களை ஒரு கரெக்டான பாத்தில் கொண்டு போனாங்க. இப்போது எங்கள் கரியரை பற்றின எந்த டவுட்டும் இல்லை, ரொம்ப கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டாக இருக்கும். அதுவும் இல்லாமல் சிபிஎஸ்சி எங்கள் எக்ஸாம்ஸ் வந்து போஸ்ட்போன் பண்ணனால இன்னும் நிறைய டைம் கிடச்சிருக்கு. ஸோ தட் எங்கள் ஸ்கூல் கண்டிப்பாக எங்களோட கரியர் வந்து ஒரு டாப் லெவலில் கொண்டு போயிடுவாங்க அப்படின்னு எங்களுக்கு நல்லாவே கான்ஃபிடென்ட்டாக இருக்கும். இது எல்லாத்துக்குமே வித்யாலட்சுமி ஸ்கூலுக்கு ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி.
Okay, in an aqueous condition, where to the electrolytic chamber, I am going to place the other metal ion, which is copper, which is existing in the form of a solid. See, if you are about to replace a metal ion which is present in the solution, you have to place an electrode which is more reactive than the metal ion which is present in the solution. I am coming again. If you are about to replace the metal ion which is present in an electrolytic solution, you have to use an electrode that is a metal which is more reactive than the metal ion which is present in the electrolytic solution. Only then there will be the redox reaction takes place, which means transfer of metal ions is possible in such a way. Here, the reactivity of copper is more greater than silver. So definitely there will be a replacement occurs. So reaction wise, I can write here as initially copper in the solid state is being placed in an electrolytic solution that contains silver ion. So thereby silver goes to the electrode, copper goes to the solution. So Cu2 plus in the aqueous condition, so 2Ag just deposits as a solid. So this is what, here copper undergoes oxidation, silver undergoes reduction. So it's a redox reaction, perfect redox reaction. This is possible only the condition that has been sustained, that was told previously. Let us go to the one more example here. Right, the same electrolytic chamber which contains copper 2 plus ion. Here, if I need to replace the copper ion from the electrolytic solution, I have to place a metal electrode which is much more reactive than copper. Only then replacement will occur. So let me just place zinc electrode. So if zinc is much more reactive than the copper, replacement will definitely occur. Let us see. See, the zinc which is in the solid state is being placed in a solution which contains copper Cu2 plus. In the aqueous condition, we know that the reactivity of zinc is much more greater than the copper, so replacement will definitely occur. So zinc goes into the solution as aqueous medium and copper deposits as just as solid. So in this way we have to choose. That's what I have written. When a more reactive metal are added to the solution that containing the less reactive metal, the more reactive metal will get into the solution. So this is what the complete explanatory part of the content. Right. So to begin with the electrochemical principle, we are going to look into an example where aluminum has been separated with a process called Hall-Héroult process. Right. Hall-Héroult process is an electrolytic process. It's an electrolytic process where an iron tank which is lined with the carbon is taken as a cathode. Immediately, if I say electrolysis, three terms you should be aware of it: cathode, anode and electrolyte. Right. When I say cathode, here that cathode that I have taken, they have taken as the iron tank which is lined with the carbon. So you are able to find this is the iron tank. The black layer is called as, which is called carbon. The black layer is called carbon. So an iron tank which is lined with the carbon is taken as an cathode. Right. You are able to find a dark black color thick rod there. So that carbon block is taken as an anode. So here cathode is the iron tank which is lined with the carbon, anode is the carbon block which I have placed there. Right. So electrolyte. Electrolyte, what it has been filled with, the solution that you are able to see in the purple color. The solution actually contains 20% alumina. When I say alumina, it is oxides of aluminum, Al2O3 and NH2O, whatever it is. Right. This 20% of alumina solution will be obtained from the bauxite ore. Right. Bauxite ore also. It is an ore of an aluminium from which I am able to isolate alumina. Okay. The alumina will be mixed up with molten cryolite, which is K3Al(F6). So this is molten cryolite, and the whole mixture is taken in an electrolytic chamber. Right. See, this Hall-Héroult process, electrochemical extraction of an aluminium, includes electrolysis process. When I say electrolysis, cathode, anode, electrolyte. Cathode, the iron tank lined with the carbon. Anode, carbon blocks. Then the electrolyte contains 20% of alumina which has been taken from bauxite, and it is mixed up with molten cryolite which is K3Al(F6), and this is what taken in an electrolytic chamber. Let us see what it has been occurred. See, the cathode and anode are externally connected to a battery. Battery will supply the current. We are going to witness what the chemical reaction will occur there. See. Right. Along with that molten cryolite, 10% of calcium chloride will be added. 10% calcium chloride is added. Why it has been added? In order to occur the reaction faster, melting point of the mixture has to be reduced. In order to prolong the reaction, in order to avoid the prolongation of a reaction, their melting point has to be reduced. So 10% of calcium chloride is added to the reaction mixture. Okay. Temperature now. Temperature should be maintained in such a way, it should be above 1270 Kelvin. Okay. The temperature is maintained above 1270 Kelvin. What is happening there? Very first, the 20% alumina starts to ionize. Right. So Al2O3, which actually starts to ionize. Ionize in the sense it gets oxidized, the other one gets reduced. So here it is, Al3 plus and 3O2 minus. So when alumina oxidize, which results in Al3 plus and 3O2 minus. Okay. Initially, with the help of a current by generating an heat of about 1270 Kelvin, ionization occurs. Once the ionization occurs, what happens? See, we know that here anode is a positive electrode and cathode is a negative electrode. Right. Immediately the positive ion move to the negative electrode and the negative ion move to the positive electrode. Right. To begin with the next content, I would like to state that whenever I say anode, here oxidation occurs. Whenever I say cathode, here what happens? Reduction occurs. Whenever I say cathode, what happens there? Reduction occurs. See, I told you that cathode is a negative electrode. The ion that has been formed previously, there is an Al3 plus and oxygen. Out of the Al3 plus and O2 minus, which is positive? Al3 plus is positive. Then Al3 plus will come to the cathode because it is a negative electrode, right? So Al3 plus will goes to the cathode. Okay, Al3 plus has reached now. How many Al3 plus? Okay, let me just take 2 Al3 plus. Okay, right. Here reduction must happen. If aluminum has to be reduced, one aluminum requires 3 electrons. 2 aluminum requires 6 electrons. So 2 aluminum will require 6 electrons. So therefore we will be getting 2 aluminum. Here reduction occurs because nuclear charge here it is decreased from 3 plus to 0. Right. Oxidation occurs at anode. The charge of an anode is positive electrode. So since it's a positive electrode, oxygen goes there. When oxygen goes there, this oxygen undergoes oxidation here. Oxidation means loss of an electron. One oxygen can give 2 electrons. 3 oxygen can give 6 electrons. So 6 electron has been given by this oxygen and goes as just as O2. Okay, 3O2. If I take it as a 3O2 or just as 3 by 2 of O2, because there is only 3 oxygen over here. Right. Or else you can just make it as 4. You can just make it as 6. See, you can write either way. You can write it as Al3 plus 1 Al will require 3 electrons, 4 Al will require 12 electrons. Therefore, here it is 4 Al. Here also you can write in the similar way. Right. When I write 2 Al to O3, it is 6 oxygen atom there. So it is 6 O2 minus. One oxygen atom can give 2 electrons, 6 oxygen atom can give 12 electrons, thereby 3 O2. Either this and this can be chosen, or this and this can be chosen. Both are correct. Right. See, the electron that has been gained by the aluminum is being given by this oxygen. Only this oxygen, after the oxygen gives an electron, this will occur. Right. See, on the contrary, on the parallel, there are some other reaction which is also taking place here. Right. There are some other reaction which is taking place here. So what is that? Oxidation anode comprised of completely carbon. There might be formation of a carbon monoxide. If there is a carbon monoxide that has been formed, there will be a loss of 2 electrons, and there is also the other chance that carbon will take 2 oxygen and forms as CO2 by losing 4 electrons over there. So both the reaction is possible because the anode that I have taken here is a carbon. Right. Then these are all the 2 reactions that can occur here during the extraction of an aluminum. Here, see, as soon as the anode consumes slowly during the electrolysis, the pure aluminum is being formed at the cathode. Okay, in the end we have come to know that pure aluminum is being formed at cathode, and those pure aluminum, once it forms at the cathode, it settles at the bottom. Okay, the overall electrolysis reaction can be written as 4Al3 plus 4Al3 plus 3 or 6O2 minus, then it is carbon. It is carbon. We'll treat up with it. So, which results in the formation of a pure aluminum there. What it forms actually pure aluminum. Right. So, here it forms just Al, 4 molecules of Al in the solid state. Then this 3 carbon will take this 6 oxygen and go as 3CO2. So, this is what the net reaction that is possible during the extraction of aluminum with the help of Hall-Héroult process. So, Hall-Héroult process is otherwise called as electrochemical extraction of aluminum over here. Then, right, we have got one more evaluate yourself to be done. Metallic sodium is extracted by the electrolysis of brine. When I say it is brine, it is a salt solution. When I say salt solution, it comprises of sodium chloride rich in it. Right. So when I say salt solution here, NaCl. Okay. After the electrolysis, the electrolytic solution becomes basic in nature. Okay. They are saying that it becomes basic in nature. Write the possible electrode reaction. See. When I say it's a brine solution, it will have NaCl along with water in it. When a current is passed, when an electricity is passed, sodium chloride will break into Na plus and Cl minus. And similarly, water molecule over there, H2O, will separate as H plus and OH minus. Right. As soon as this two reaction will result in the formation of 4 ions, what happens? This hydrogen will take this chlorine and go as HCl. The one which is left out is sodium and OH. So Na plus will react with OH minus and forms NaOH. We know that NaOH is strong base. Due to the formation of the strong base, electrolysis of brine solution is clearly said that it is basic in nature. Right. Then, refining process. Right. In the refining process, we are going to look into certain refining process where we are able to find which metal can be refined through which. Why we need to refine? Already we have concentrated, we have extracted. Why we need to refine? Because the concentrated ore may contain certain impurities like unreacted oxides, and it can be a metal, it can be a non-metal, anything it might be there. See, it is not that we have concentrated and we have extracted the crude metal, all the impurities that has been removed. That may contain certain impurities where it may have an unreacted oxide, it may have a metal, it may have a non-metal. I have to remove those metal, unreacted oxide and non-metal. What I must do here? I must able to do certain thing. So, those removal of impurities that has been associated with the crude metal is called refining process. The crude metal may contain certain impurity. In order to remove the impurity, I have to undergo this refining process. Right. The very first process is distillation. See, if the metal that we are able to refine is low boiling volatile metal, which means they are capable of getting its volatility, it can be evaporated so easily when at a low temperature itself. I can use zinc to distillate it, to refine it. I can use mercury to refine it. Right. What they have done here, the impure metal will be taken and it will be heated. It will be heated. We are very sure that this metal is a low boiling volatile metal. So immediately at a very low temperature it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, it starts to evaporate at the low temperature itself. So impurity they stays down because impurities are capable of exhibiting higher boiling point. So the metal with the lower boiling point, the impurities with the higher boiling point has to be refined. I can choose this distillation. Right. So what is that? The impure metal will be heated and it will be allowed to evaporate. The evaporated vapor is collected and condensed so that I will be able to get a pure metal. Very simple. Then, don't forget, you can choose this distillation if the metal has low boiling point and the impurities has high boiling point. Only then I can choose this distillation process. Right. Then, the next one is liquefaction. See, liquefaction is a process where we need a sloping earth which has a barriers in it, which means I would say a sloping earth will be placed with certain barrier and it will be heated in a furnace. Whole thing will be heated in a furnace, a reverberatory furnace and so on, because it is capable of producing large amount of heat. Okay, what it will be, what will happen there? Right. See, if the impurities we have the impurities with the high melting point there, right? With the metals which has a low melting point, I can easily able to separate it. The previous one we have discussed with the boiling point. Here, if the metal has low melting point when compared to the impurities which has a high melting point, I can able to separate with the help of this, because the impure form of a metal will be fed up in this sloping earth. When it is heated, I already told you that the metal will have low melting point. So when the metal has low melting point when compared to the impurity, the metal flows down as a slag, as a liquid, and collected it separately in the separate container here, right? What sort of a metal that I can use? Tin, lead, mercury and bismuth, because those metals shows very less melting point when compared to its impurities. So those metals can be used to separate from the impurity using this liquefaction process, right? What they are taking, I already told you, the impure form of a metal will be taken in the form of a liquid, and it will be allowed to flow on a sloping earth, sloping surface. As it has been fed into a sloping surface and heated in a reverberatory furnace, it is heated just above the melting point of the metal, which means when the temperature goes above the melting point of the metal, pure metal starts to flow down. Impurities stay as there itself. Here, this reaction should be done in the absence of an air. When it is done in the absence of an air, the pure molten metal flows down and the impurities are left out. The molten metal is collected and then it can be condensed to form solidification. Right. Let us witness it with the help of a video. Right. So this is what the sloping earth. This sloping earth may have a barriers there. And this sloping earth is placed in a reverberatory furnace where the temperature goes above the melting point of the metal there. So what happens there? When the impure metal is fed into the experimentation chamber, what happens? As the temperature is above the melting point of the metal, what happens here? The pure metal starts to melt and collected it separately. And the one which is left there is just as an impurity. So this is what the overall process that has been involved in liquefaction. Right. So in today's content, we have looked into the thermodynamic electrochemical principle of a metallurgy, followed by the refining process, in which we have discussed with distillation and liquefaction. Right. See, so that's it with the today's content. We have left out with electrolytic refining, zoned refining, and certain named process like Van Arkel process and Mons process. Right. So we will discuss those content in the next part. Right. If you like with the content that was taught, kindly give a thumbs up. If you are not aware of any of the content that has been taught, put a message in the comment box below. And if you are enriched the knowledge of the content behind the metallurgy, kindly share this video with your friends. So kindly do subscribe and follow our channel. Thank you all. See you all in the next part.